The month of July is about to unleash a storm of shocking twists, emotional reunions, and dangerous battles in Genoa City. As long-buried secrets begin clawing their way to the surface and powerful families prepare for battles that could change everything, the lives of those caught in the middle will never be the same. Every victory will come with a painful cost. Every promise will be tested, and every relationship will be forced to endure impossible challenges. From heartbreaking medical recoveries to bitter corporate wars, from dangerous rescues to unexpected romances, the coming weeks promise a relentless wave of drama that refuses to slow down. With emotions running higher than ever, July is shaping up to become one of the most unforgettable chapters yet. One of the most emotional storylines begins in the aftermath of Nikki Newman's terrifying medical emergency. Following her emergency surgery, doctors successfully removed the entire brain mass that threatened her life, bringing a tremendous wave of relief to everyone who has been praying for her recovery. For a brief moment, hope fills the hospital room as Nikki survives the operation that once seemed uncertain. Yet despite this remarkable victory, another frightening question continues to linger over everyone she loves. Her eyesight remains uncertain, and no one can predict whether or when her vision will fully return. Doctors warn that recovery could take weeks, leaving Nikki trapped in darkness, while she patiently waits to learn whether the light will ever return to her world. Although fans can safely believe that Nikki will not remain permanently blind, her road to recovery promises to be emotionally exhausting. Every day without her sight becomes another reminder of how fragile life truly is, forcing her to rely on those around her in ways she never imagined. Independence suddenly becomes impossible, and accepting help may prove just as difficult as the physical healing itself. Through every uncertain moment, Victor Newman refuses to leave her side, determined to become the steady source of strength she desperately needs. His devotion shines brighter than ever as he offers comfort, protection, and unconditional love, while Nikki struggles through the darkness. As the emotional walls between them slowly begin to crumble, this painful chapter could finally lead them toward the romantic reunion that so many have waited years to witness, proving that even life's greatest hardships can sometimes guide two hearts back together. Meanwhile, another storm quietly gathers around the Abbott family, where Jill Abbott becomes increasingly desperate to keep a dangerous secret buried. Whatever truth she is hiding carries enormous consequences, particularly if Billy Abbott ever discovers it. Jill throws herself into protecting the secret, believing she can keep it hidden long enough to avoid disaster. However, history has shown that secrets rarely stay buried in Genoa City, and this one appears destined to explode at the worst possible moment. Despite all her efforts, Jill is expected to fail spectacularly, allowing the truth to finally reach Billy's ears. Once that happens, everything changes, because the revelation will reignite Billy's relentless obsession with Chancellor, drawing him back into the corporate battlefield with renewed determination. The moment Billy sets his sights on Chancellor once again, his priorities begin shifting in dangerous ways. His hunger for power quickly overshadows everything else, pulling him into another high-stakes battle that threatens to consume every aspect of his life. Standing firmly against him will be Kane Ashby and Lily Winters, who join forces to protect what they believe is theirs. Their alliance promises an explosive corporate war filled with strategic moves, emotional betrayals, and relentless confrontations as both sides refuse to surrender. Unfortunately, Billy's renewed fixation comes at a heartbreaking personal cost. Sally Spectra watches with growing disappointment as the man who promised to put her first begins breaking that promise before her eyes. He had vowed to make both Sally and their unborn baby his highest priority. But now, wedding plans, dreams of their future, and preparations for welcoming their child are all pushed aside, while Billy once again becomes consumed by his relentless pursuit of Chancellor. The emotional distance between them grows wider with every passing day, leaving Sally to wonder whether their future together is beginning to slip away. Elsewhere, Victor Newman quietly continues executing one of his carefully calculated schemes through Matt Clark. Acting under Victor's direct orders, Matt works tirelessly to move closer to Kane, carefully positioning himself where he can gather information and carry out Victor's hidden agenda. Every conversation and every interaction become part of a larger game that only Victor fully understands. However, the plan grows increasingly risky as Holden Novak begins noticing that Mitch Bacall keeps appearing around both Kane and Lily Winters. Holden possesses enough knowledge to expose the truth behind Victor's operation, making him an incredibly dangerous wild card. Should Holden decide to reveal what he knows in order to protect his newly discovered sister and his former boss, Victor's entire strategy could collapse in an instant, sending devastating consequences through everyone involved. At the same time, an unexpected emotional connection begins quietly taking shape. As Matt spends more time with Phyllis Summers, the relationship between them naturally deepens beyond simple friendship. Shared experiences and growing trust slowly erase the distance that once separated them, allowing genuine feelings to emerge. What initially appeared to be a casual connection steadily transforms into something far more meaningful, carrying both excitement and uncertainty. Their growing romance offers a welcome spark of warmth amid the surrounding chaos. Yet, in Genoa City, happiness rarely arrives without complications waiting just around the corner. While love begins blooming in one corner of town, another family faces an increasingly dangerous nightmare. Diane Jenkins Abbott remains trapped under the control of Dr. Lawrence Markham, desperately fighting for her freedom while hoping someone can reach her before it is too late. Every passing moment increases the danger surrounding her situation, making rescue feel more urgent than ever. At the same time, Jack Abbott finds himself hopelessly entangled with the unpredictable and dangerous Patty Williams, creating another crisis that threatens to spiral completely out of control. The Abbott family is pulled in multiple directions as Jack and Kyle Abbott refuse to give up on saving Diane, no matter how impossible the mission becomes. Together, father and son continue searching for a way to rescue her, but countless obstacles stand between them and success. Every step forward seems to introduce another unexpected setback, ensuring that their desperate fight will be anything but easy. As July unfolds, the lives of Genoa City's most powerful families become more intertwined than ever before. Medical recoveries, hidden secrets, corporate battles, dangerous schemes, unexpected romances, and desperate rescue missions all collide in spectacular fashion, creating a month packed with relentless suspense and unforgettable emotion. Every character will be forced to make difficult choices that could permanently reshape their future, while shocking surprises wait around nearly every corner. Alliances will be tested, relationships will be pushed to their limits, and long-buried truths will finally refuse to stay hidden. With wild confrontations, emotional breakthroughs, and completely unexpected outcomes on the horizon, July sweeps promise an unforgettable ride that will leave viewers eagerly anticipating every shocking twist still waiting to come. As the days continue unfolding inside the unpredictable world of Genoa City, an invisible tension begins settling over every corner of the city like a heavy storm cloud refusing to move on. There is a strange silence building beneath the surface, the kind of silence that only exists right before everything finally breaks apart. Every family, every relationship, every fragile alliance that once appeared stable is now standing dangerously close to collapse, held together only by truths that have not yet come to light. What makes the coming weeks feel so volatile is that none of these battles exist in isolation anymore. Every secret being hidden, every decision being made behind closed doors, and every emotional wound left untreated is beginning to create a chain reaction capable of reshaping countless lives at once. And as July Sweeps gains momentum, the sense that something massive is about to change becomes impossible to ignore. For Nikki Newman, survival may have been the first battle, but the emotional consequences of everything she has endured are only beginning to reveal themselves. Although the successful surgery brought enormous relief to those who feared losing her forever, the uncertainty surrounding her eyesight has introduced an entirely new form of fear into her recovery. The darkness surrounding her is no longer simply physical. It has become symbolic of the vulnerability she has spent years trying so hard to outrun. Nikki has always projected strength, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who refuses allowing life's hardships to define her. But now she finds herself forced into unfamiliar territory, where independence is no longer guaranteed, And for perhaps the first time in a very long time, she must rely completely on others for comfort, reassurance, and guidance. That realization alone creates a battle inside her far more personal than the surgery itself ever was. Standing closest beside her through this deeply uncertain chapter is Victor Newman, whose devotion has once again proven itself stronger than time, conflict, and every painful chapter their complicated history has endured together. Victor is not simply offering support. He is quietly fighting for the woman he has loved through decades of triumph, heartbreak, betrayal, and reconciliation. Every gentle reassurance, every moment spent refusing to leave her side, every silent promise hidden inside his actions begins reminding Nikki that some connections survive even the harshest storms life can create. What begins as comfort during recovery slowly evolves into something emotionally transformative for both of them. The barriers that once kept emotional distance between them begin weakening with every passing day. And in the darkness Nikki is currently forced to endure, Victor may ultimately become the light guiding her back not only toward healing, but back toward love itself. Yet even as Victor pours his attention into Nikki's recovery, another dangerous game continues unfolding behind the scenes. One capable of exploding with consequences far beyond what anyone expects. His decision to position Matt Clark close to Kane Ashby was never a random move. Victor is orchestrating something larger, another carefully calculated strategy designed to place him firmly in control of events developing around Chancellor and the growing corporate tensions surrounding Billy Abbott. For Victor, power has always been second nature, and manipulation often feels like simply another tool necessary for protecting what he values. But every strategy contains weaknesses, and in this case, that weakness may have already revealed itself through Holden Novak. The danger now is no longer simply whether Victor's plan succeeds, but whether everything collapses the moment Holden decides he knows too much to remain silent. Holden stands in a uniquely dangerous position because he now possesses information capable of destroying multiple carefully arranged plans all at once. He has begun noticing suspicious patterns surrounding the man known as Mitch Bacall and his unusual connection to Kane and Lily Winters. But Holden's dilemma goes deeper than suspicion alone. His emotional loyalties have shifted, especially with the growing need to protect his newly discovered sister and his complicated history with those now entangled in Victor's operation. If Holden chooses family over secrecy, Victor's carefully designed strategy could unravel instantly, triggering consequences that reach far beyond simple business rivalry. And as always, when Victor Newman loses control over the game he believes he dominates, the fallout rarely remains contained for long. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott continues descending further into dangerous territory. And what makes his downward spiral so tragic is how predictable it has become for those who know him best. For a brief moment, it truly seemed as though Billy had changed. His promises to Sally Spectra sounded sincere. His desire to focus on love, family, and the future appeared genuine enough that even longtime skeptics began believing perhaps this time would finally be different. But some people carry obsessions so deeply rooted inside them that escaping old patterns becomes almost impossible. Chancellor has once again awakened that dangerous hunger inside Billy. A hunger for control, recognition, and proving himself in a world where he constantly feels judged against impossible expectations. And now, slowly but unmistakably, that obsession is beginning to consume him entirely. The cruelest part of Billy's transformation is the emotional damage being inflicted on Sally, who had allowed herself to believe she had finally found a future worth trusting. For Sally, the months ahead were supposed to represent everything she had fought for: love, stability, family, and the excitement of preparing for motherhood alongside a partner who genuinely valued building a life together. Wedding plans should have filled their days with excitement. Preparing for the arrival of their baby should have brought warmth, laughter, and dreams about the future waiting ahead. Instead, those joyful moments are quietly disappearing as Billy redirects his energy toward Chancellor, allowing ambition to once again eclipse everything else that should matter more. Sally is beginning to watch history repeat itself in slow motion, and heartbreak is arriving through the painful realization that Billy's promises may never have been strong enough to survive temptation. As Billy moves deeper into his renewed obsession, resistance begins rising rapidly in the form of Kane Ashby and Lily Winters, both fully aware that allowing Billy unchecked access to Chancellor could trigger consequences no one wants to face. Kane understands exactly how dangerous Billy becomes when ambition starts overriding reason. And Lily has seen firsthand the destructive patterns Billy repeatedly falls back into whenever power begins calling his name again. Together, they begin forming an alliance built entirely around stopping him before his growing obsession escalates beyond control. What makes the conflict so explosive is that this is no longer simply a corporate disagreement over business assets. Too much emotional history exists between all parties involved. Old betrayals still linger beneath the surface. Unresolved wounds remain painfully fresh, and personal resentments now threaten turning business competition into outright war. Elsewhere, away from the corporate battlefield consuming so many lives, an unexpected emotional connection continues quietly deepening between Matt Clark and Phyllis Summers. At first, their interactions may have seemed harmless, simple chemistry sparked through circumstance and proximity. But now, something undeniable has begun shifting between them. Conversations carry a different kind of energy. Quieter moments linger longer than they should, and emotional curiosity is steadily transforming into genuine attraction neither of them can fully deny anymore. Yet hidden beneath this promising connection is a dangerous truth neither relationship can easily survive. Matt remains deeply entangled in Victor Newman's secret operation. And if Phyllis eventually discovers that his presence in her life was never as innocent as it appeared, trust could shatter before love ever has the chance to fully bloom. At the same time, one of Genoa City's darkest battles continues, centering around Diane Jenkins Abbott, whose terrifying captivity under Dr. Lawrence Markham is becoming increasingly dangerous with every passing hour. Diane remains trapped in a nightmare where freedom feels agonizingly close, yet every attempt to escape seems blocked by forces beyond her control. The emotional exhaustion of living under constant fear begins taking its toll, and the uncertainty surrounding whether rescue will arrive in time only deepens the terrifying isolation she now faces. Every second spent trapped inside Markham's control pushes the situation closer toward irreversible consequences. Somewhere beyond her reach, those who love her continue fighting desperately to bring her home. But time is becoming the greatest enemy of all. And while Diane fights for survival, Jack Abbott finds himself trapped in an entirely separate danger, involving Patty Williams, whose deeply unstable nature makes every encounter feel increasingly unpredictable and potentially catastrophic. Patty has always carried an emotional volatility capable of turning affection into destruction without warning. And Jack understands all too well the danger standing directly in front of him. Yet, even while facing his own terrifying circumstances, Jack refuses abandoning Diane's fight for freedom. Together with Kyle Abbott, he continues pushing forward, determined to save the woman they both love, despite the endless obstacles rising in their path. Father and son now stand united against impossible odds, driven by loyalty powerful enough to challenge fear itself. But whether determination alone will be enough remains painfully uncertain. As July Sweeps continues, pushing every storyline closer toward inevitable collision, the atmosphere inside Genoa City becomes heavier with every passing day. Romantic reunions begin forming in one corner, while devastating heartbreak quietly grows in another. Dangerous secrets threaten exposure from every direction. Power struggles intensify as alliances strengthen and enemies sharpen their strategies behind closed doors. Unexpected romance blooms even as deception quietly poisons trust beneath the surface. And perhaps most dangerously of all, nearly every character now stands on the edge of decisions that could permanently redefine the lives they have spent years building. Because in The Young and the Restless, peace has never been permanent. Love is constantly tested. Power always demands sacrifice. Secrets never stay buried forever. And the cruelest truth of all is that sometimes the people fighting hardest to protect their future are the very ones unknowingly destroying it. July has only begun, but already the storm consuming Genoa City feels unstoppable. By the time the dust finally settles, betrayals will have shattered hearts, dangerous truths will have changed alliances forever, and no one standing inside this world of ambition, love, and deception will emerge as the same person they were before everything began unraveling.